worked frantically to maintain orbital defenses and repair damaged satellites. Humanity had faced challenges before, but nothing like this. And yet in the fear and chaos, a spark of pride burned. Humanity was fighting back, and every action in the sky above reminded them that their home could not be taken without a struggle. Elena's voice cut through the bridge's comms. All units, maintain formation. Protect the planet at all costs. Do not underestimate them and do not hesitate to act. The Xylars responded with devastating energy beams, tearing through orbital debris and clouds of smoke. Their ships moved with elegance and deadly precision, but humans adapted faster. Every maneuver, every countermeasure showed ingenuity born from centuries of surviving impossible odds. Missiles were redirected, shields recalibrated, and fighters executed daring maneuvers that left the aliens off balance. Even in the chaos, Elena remembered the lessons of Earth's past. Humanity had survived plagues, wars, and disasters. They had endured famine, oppression, and betrayal. Every battle they had fought had forged a resilience that now radiated across space. And that resilience was not just in machines or weapons, it was in people. Every pilot, every engineer, every child hoping from behind a screen contributed to the collective will that drove humanity forward. The Xylars realized that their expectations were wrong. They had assumed humans would submit, or at least hesitate. But hesitation was not part of human nature when their home was threatened. Courage, innovation, and determination defined them. Each human strike was more than tactical. It was a statement: we will survive. We will protect our world. We will not be tricked. As the battle raged, Elena watched a younger pilot maneuver through a narrow corridor of debris, evading a deadly Xylar beam and striking with flawless precision. A smile briefly crossed her face. Humanity was not just defending. They were showing the galaxy what it meant to fight with heart, mind, and soul. Hours passed like minutes. Explosions lit the darkness, and the void around Earth trembled with energy. Yet humanity held unbroken, unyielding. The Xylars' initial confidence faltered, replaced by unease and frustration. No trick, no deception, no technology could match the courage and willpower of a species determined to survive. And through it all, Elena's voice remained steady, a beacon of leadership. Hold the line. Protect Earth! This is our home and we will not let it fall. The first major strike had been survived. The Xylars were shaken. Humans were relentless. The battle had begun, but its meaning was already clear. Earth would fight, and humanity would not only defend their home, they would remind the galaxy that strength was not just measured in weapons, but in courage, unity, and an unbreakable will. The battle had raged for hours, and yet humanity's fleets held firm. Earth's orbit was a storm of fire and energy, with missiles streaking through darkness and laser beams cutting across the void. The Xylars, once confident in their flawless strategy, now struggled to maintain formation. Their ships shivered under human firepower, their perfectly designed plans crumbling against determination, courage, and ingenuity. Captain Elena Vargas leaned over her console, her eyes scanning every ship and signal. Her heart pounded not with fear but with fierce pride. Humanity was alive in ways the Xylars could never understand. Every soldier, pilot, and engineer was not just following orders. They were fighting for home, for family, for a world they loved with all their hearts. Stay strong, she whispered to herself. We are humanity. We do not falter. Below on Earth, people watched the skies in disbelief. Children clutched their parents' hands, eyes wide with fear and wonder. Citizens huddled in shelters, praying, hoping, and watching humanity's defenders carve a path through chaos. Across continents, emergency workers coordinated, scientists calculated, and volunteers aided wherever they could. Every action on Earth was connected to the battle above. Humanity was united, and unity became a weapon no alien could defeat. The Xylars tried diplomacy again, sending holographic emissaries onto human screens. Their voices were smooth, almost soothing. Lay down your weapons, they said. We only wanted peace. There is no need for further conflict. But humans did not flinch. Elena shook her head, her voice firm as she addressed her crew. Peace offered too late is not peace at all. We prepare for betrayal because our home is worth protecting. And betrayal, as the Xylars had hoped, was exactly what humans expected. Every move the aliens made was precise but predictable. Human pilots adapted, anticipating attacks with strategy born of centuries of struggle. Engineers rerouted energy to shields, repaired damaged drones in real time, and coordinated fleet movements with skill that impressed even the youngest cadets watching the battle unfold. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, and unyielding. As explosions lit the void, Elena reflected on what humanity truly represented. The Xylers measured strength by technology, size, and firepower, but humans measured strength differently. They measured it by courage, by loyalty, and by the refusal to submit. Each strike from Earth's fleet was more than just a defense, it was a declaration. We are not afraid. We will not bend. We will endure. The tide of the battle began to shift. Xylar ships faltered under coordinated human assaults, their shields failing in some sectors, their formations breaking apart. Human pilots executed daring maneuvers, striking from angles no alien strategy had considered. In every corner of the battlefield, courage met technology and courage won. Amid the chaos, Elena's voice rang clear over the comms. All units, remember what we fight for. Earth is more than ground and water. It is family, it is history, it is hope. Protect it and protect each other. Her words were a spark that ignited determination in every crew member. Fear did not vanish, but it was replaced by something stronger. Resolve. The Xylars began to understand that humans were unlike any species they had encountered. They did not fight for conquest or for honor or for glory. They fought for love of home. Their weapons were precise, but their hearts were fiercer. Every maneuver, every calculated risk, every sacrifice spoke of a species that refused to be tricked, subdued, or erased. Hours passed like minutes. Human fleets, battered but unbroken, continued to press the advantage. Earth's defenders did not celebrate victories, they pressed forward, steady and united, aware that the true test was not in a single battle, but in their determination to survive, adapt, and protect the world they called home. Elena watched a young pilot guide a damaged ship to safety, saving both the vessel and its crew. A wave of emotion washed over her. This was what humanity was, fierce, compassionate, brilliant, and unbreakable. And as the Xylars faltered again, she knew the message of humanity was clear. They had tried to deceive Earth with words of peace. But words alone could not sway courage. Humanity had brought weapons, but more importantly, they had brought their spirit. And no alien force, no matter how advanced, could extinguish the fire of a species determined to protect its home. The battlefield above Earth was a swirling storm of light, fire, and energy. The Xylar ships, once confident and poised, now wavered in their formation. Their weapons fired with precision, but human tactics were faster, smarter, and more unpredictable. Humanity had learned the patterns of the aliens, and they used each opportunity to strike with unrelenting precision. Captain Elena Vargas stood on the bridge of the flagship Defender, eyes fixed on the unfolding chaos. Her hands moved steadily over the controls, guiding her fleet like a conductor leading a symphony. All units, focus on their command ships. Disable their communication lines and shields. Hit them where they cannot recover. Her voice carried not just orders but conviction, and every crew member moved with renewed determination. Humanity had discovered the Xylar's weakness, reliance on control. Their massive ships were powerful, but vulnerable to coordinated intelligent strikes. Fighter squadrons weaved through debris fields, dodging laser blasts while targeting shield generators. Missiles and energy pulses disrupted the alien network, creating openings for human ships to strike critical systems. Every strike was calculated yet bold, risky yet brilliant. The Xylars had assumed that humans would hesitate, that they would fear death and surrender. But the humans above Earth refused to bow. Pilots risked their lives to protect their comrades. Engineers worked tirelessly to reroute power, repair shields, and launch counterattacks. And all the while, Captain Elena's voice remained calm, a guiding light amid the chaos. Remember why we fight. Remember who we are. Protect our home. For the first time in the battle, the Xylars realized that their superiority was not enough. Their weapons could destroy ships, but not the human spirit. Humanity was not just defending Earth, they were rewriting the rules of engagement. Every fallen ship, every calculated maneuver, every heroic act reminded the aliens that this species could not be conquered through fear or trickery. In the heart of the conflict, Elena spotted an opportunity. The Xylar command vessel, massive and bristling with energy, had overextended its shields to protect smaller ships. She seized the moment.
Full assault on the command ship.
Now, she ordered. Squadrons of human fighters surged forward, missiles streaking through the void like silver fire. Energy pulses struck the alien ship, targeting weak points, disrupting systems, and sending shockwaves through its hull. The Xylars struggled to maintain control. The day the Xylar ships appeared, the sky over Earth changed forever. Enormous shimmering vessels hovered silently above every continent, reflecting sunlight like moving crystals. They were beautiful, too beautiful, and their quiet presence made even the bravest people hold their breath. No one had ever seen ships like these. They were not just machines. They were works of art, designed to awe and intimidate at the same time. On Earth, leaders gathered quickly. The UN Secretary-General addressed the world, his voice calm but tinged with unease. They claimed to come in peace, he said, and promise unity and friendship. Across the globe, billions watched as humans prepared to welcome beings from another star system. Crowds cheered, hopeful for a future free from war, suffering, and fear. Children waved, adults clasped their hands, and for a moment it felt like the Earth might finally have a chance at true peace. But not everyone celebrated. Captain Elena Vargas, commander of Earth's defense fleet, stared at the alien ships with cold, sharp eyes. Her instincts told her something humans already knew. Appearances could be deceiving. She had seen how enemies, whether human or alien, used charm and promises to hide their intentions. Elena knew that peace offered too quickly often carried danger, and the Xylar's gifts made her skin crawl. The delicate devices they sent down to Earth glowed softly, almost hypnotically. But Elena sensed hidden energy within them, energy that could easily be deadly if misused. Yet the leaders of Earth were eager. The Xylars spoke of advanced technology, clean energy, and solutions to disease and hunger. They promised to share knowledge, to connect humanity with other worlds, to make Earth part of a galactic alliance. Humanity's media captured every word, every gesture. The Xylars were smooth, eloquent, perfect. But Elena noticed the flicker of something strange in their eyes, something cold and calculating. They smiled too much, moved too carefully. Humans had a saying, trust actions, not words. Elena clutched her communicator and whispered, "Stay ready. Watch everything. This is too easy." Inside orbiting stations, humanity's hidden fleets began to hum to life. Weapons that had never been seen by civilians were being readied in silence. Missiles, energy cannons, shields, and fighter drones, everything was being prepared for one reason, to protect Earth. Humanity had faced threats before, some even from within, and each time, survival had depended on vigilance and courage. If the Xylars truly meant peace, humanity could welcome it. But if they lied, humans would fight without hesitation. The first contact was arranged on a massive platform in orbit, high above the blue planet. Xylar emissaries descended slowly, their elegant forms almost floating, accompanied by shimmering lights that dazzled human eyes. They radiated calm, grace, and authority, yet in their perfection, Elena saw a danger she could not ignore. Humans were known for cleverness, for courage, for fighting back when their home was threatened. She knew that the people of Earth would not kneel to empty promises, no matter how beautiful the words sounded. As the emissary's ship landed, humanity held its breath. Children watched from schools, families huddled near screens, and leaders stepped forward to greet the Xylars. A new era was promised, one of friendship and peace. But in Elena's mind, the warning bells rang louder than the celebrations. She glanced at the hidden fleet stationed just beyond the horizon of space and whispered, "If this is a trick, we will be ready. We always are." The sun set over Earth, casting golden light over the alien ships. On the surface, humanity celebrated what they thought was the beginning of peace. Above, Captain Elena Vargas watched with unwavering resolve. The stars were silent witnesses to the moment when humanity would choose whether to trust blindly or to defend their world with every weapon and every ounce of courage they had. The stage was set. The players were ready. And somewhere deep in the hearts of humans, a fire burned, quiet, determined, unyielding. A fire that no alien deception could ever extinguish. The Xylar emissaries moved with perfect grace as they entered Earth's orbital platform. Their forms shimmered like liquid light, and their voices were soft but commanding. "We come with gifts," they said, their words floating in the minds of the human leaders like a gentle wave. "We offer knowledge, technology, and friendship to all of Earth." The world watched with awe and hope. Humans had long dreamed of meeting beings from distant stars, imagining worlds of advanced science, peace, and understanding. And now it seemed that dream had come true. Children pressed their faces against screens. Families whispered in excitement, and leaders smiled, eager to accept this gift of friendship. Even the most cynical politicians could not hide their curiosity. But Captain Elena Vargas did not smile. She studied every movement, every gesture, every word. Something about their calm, flawless demeanor set off alarms in her mind. She had spent her life training for threats that could come from anywhere: space, sea, or sky. The Xylar's words were sweet, but Elena knew better than to trust words alone. The gifts themselves were beautiful, glowing with intricate patterns and unknown energy sources. On the surface, they seemed harmless, almost magical, but her instincts screamed danger. "They are too perfect," she whispered to her second-in-command. "They want us to let our guard down. That's how they get us." Meanwhile, the emissaries invited human representatives to inspect the gifts. Scientists eagerly approached, marveling at the technology. Tiny devices floated in the air, projecting holographic images and energy patterns that seemed to respond to thought. It was mesmerizing. Yet Elena noticed subtle anomalies. The patterns pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat, but it was wrong, too mechanical, too deliberate. As humans studied the devices, secret signals were transmitted to Earth's hidden defense fleets. Missiles, drones, and energy cannons silently powered up in orbit, ready to protect the planet at a moment's notice. Humanity had prepared for this moment quietly, deliberately. If the Xylars truly came in peace, the weapons would remain dormant. But if deception was their plan, Earth would be ready. Then came the moment of exchange. The Xylars presented their gifts with bows and measured elegance, expecting admiration. But instead of awe, they were met with the hum of engines, the glow of human defenses, and the sight of fleets ready for combat. Human ships bristled with weapons, moving into formation with precision and discipline. Captain Elena stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We were ready to accept peace, but we were also ready for betrayal. We come armed to protect our home." The Xylars froze. Shock flashed across their flawless features. They had expected gratitude, perhaps even submission. But humans had chosen defiance, readiness, and courage. They had chosen survival. For the first time, the emissaries hesitated. Their carefully planned display of friendship seemed fragile under the resolve of humanity. Their perfect words no longer carried weight. Humans were not impressed by appearances. They measured truth by action, by courage, and by the willingness to stand for their planet. Across the platform, scientists and soldiers exchanged glances. The realization was clear. The game had changed. Humanity was not the naive species the Xylars had imagined. They were fighters, protectors, and survivors. And now, the Xylars would have to face that reality. Elena's eyes scanned the horizon of space, noticing the distant hum of Earth's defense grids. The Xylars' emissaries tried to maintain composure, but even their shimmering forms betrayed uncertainty. Words of peace were easy. Action was not. And humans had already begun to act. A quiet determination settled over the platform. Humanity would not kneel. Humanity would not be fooled. And somewhere deep in every human heart, the fire of resolve burned brighter than the alien glow of the ships above. The Xylars realized, perhaps too late, that this encounter would not end in simple diplomacy. They had come to deceive, but humans had brought weapons instead. And in that choice, the fate of Earth and the message to the galaxy had already been written. The stage was no longer set for peaceful exchange. It was set for a confrontation, one that would test courage, strategy, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. The sky above Earth had never looked so alive. The Xylar ships, expecting obedience, now faced something they had never imagined: human defiance. Across the orbit, Earth's defense fleets shifted into position, engines humming with quiet power. Weapons once hidden for centuries gleamed in the sunlight, ready to defend a planet that refused to surrender. Captain Elena Vargas stood on the bridge of her flagship, her hands gripping the controls. Around her, the crew moved with practiced precision. Every command was met with exact execution. They were not only fighting for survival, they were fighting to prove the strength of humanity itself. The Xylars hesitated, unsure how to respond. Their weapons glowed, and energy shields shimmered across their hulls, but the humans were already in motion. Missile arrays fired with perfect timing, striking with precision. Swarms of fighter drones darted like silver lightning, evading enemy lasers while counterattacking with unrelenting speed. The Xylars had expected humans to admire their technology, maybe even bow. Instead, they were met with firepower, strategy, and courage that could not be measured in numbers alone. On Earth, people watched the battle unfold on massive screens. Fear and awe blended in the hearts of billions. Children hid behind parents while others whispered prayers. Engineers, scientists, and planned formations broke apart, and panic rippled through their ranks. For the first time, hesitation replaced arrogance. They had underestimated humans, and now the consequences were clear. Ships that had seemed invincible faltered under relentless human attack. The tide of battle had shifted. Humanity was no longer defending. They were advancing. Below, on Earth, people watched as the alien fleet began to falter. Relief and hope spread across continents. Children cheered, parents hugged tightly, and the world felt the power of unity and courage. Humanity was proving that even against overwhelming odds, the heart and mind could triumph over raw strength. Elena felt a surge of pride as she watched her fleet press the advantage. Each maneuver, each strike, each act of bravery was a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. They had turned defense into offense, fear into courage, and doubt into determination. The Xylar command ship shuddered under the onslaught, its energy core destabilizing. Sparks flew, hull panels cracked, and the alien crew realized that their fate was slipping away. They had come to deceive Earth with promises of peace, but they had underestimated the humans who refused to be fooled. Humanity had shown them not only strength but heart. Elena's voice rang out one last time over the fleet's comms. We fight not for glory, not for conquest, but for home. Earth is ours and we will protect it. The Xylars recoiled as human forces closed in. The turning of the tide was complete. Humanity was no longer struggling to survive, they were winning, proving to the galaxy that courage, unity, and determination could defeat even the most advanced adversaries. And in that moment, amidst the fire and chaos, humanity's message was clear. No trick, no deception. No alien power could ever break the spirit of a species determined to defend its home. The battle was over, but silence was heavy in the void above Earth. Smoke and debris floated like drifting ghosts among the stars. The Xylar fleet, once arrogant and flawless, was broken. Ships drifted helplessly, their energy cores dimmed, their commanders stunned. Humanity had survived, and more than that, they had triumphed against deception and overwhelming odds. Captain Elena Vargas stood on the bridge of her flagship, gazing at the wreckage. Her hands relaxed slightly on the controls, though her eyes remained sharp. Relief mingled with exhaustion and a quiet pride filled her chest. Every human crew member, every pilot and engineer had fought not for conquest, but for home, for family, for the Earth that nurtured them. And now their courage had changed the course of history. Across the planet, citizens watched news feeds showing the battle's end. Children cheered, parents hugged tightly, and even the most skeptical leaders allowed themselves to smile. Humanity had not just defended itself, they had sent a message to the galaxy. Earth was not naive, it was not weak, and it would never be easily deceived. Humanity had brought weapons, yes, but more importantly, they had brought their courage, ingenuity, and unbreakable will. In orbital command centers, engineers worked to secure the remains of the Xylar ships, ensuring that no lingering threat remained. Scientists studied alien technology, not just to understand it, but to prepare for the future. Humanity had survived by adapting quickly, by thinking creatively, and by refusing to give up. Every ship saved, every life protected, was a testament to the strength of their species. Elena walked through the bridge, nodding at her crew. We did not fight for victory alone, she said softly. We fought for every person on Earth, for the children who dream of the stars, and for every soul who believes that home is worth defending. This is why we fight. This is who we are. Her voice carried calm authority, but beneath it was emotion, pride, relief, and deep gratitude. Even the Xylars seemed to understand. Their emissaries, now silent and shaken, looked upon humans with something approaching awe. They had come to trick a species they assumed would surrender, and instead they found resilience, courage, and unity beyond their calculations. Humans did not fight for power. They fought for love, for life, and for the protection of all they held dear. Across Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. People worked to rebuild, tending to damaged cities, helping injured citizens, and honoring the brave men and women who had defended the planet. Humanity had survived a test unlike any other, and the lessons were clear. Vigilance, courage, and unity were as powerful as any weapon. In the orbital fleet, Elena reflected on what had happened. She had expected fear, chaos, and hesitation, but she had seen something far stronger. Humanity had risen above doubt and danger, and in doing so they had proven their place in the galaxy. Not as conquerors, not as pawns, but as survivors, as defenders, and as beings whose spirit could not be broken. The stars shone over Earth, calm and silent after the storm. Humanity's victory was not just measured in ships destroyed or weapons fired, it was measured in spirit. The message was clear. Deception could not sway those who loved their home, and no alien power could extinguish the fire of a determined species. Elena looked down at Earth, blue and green beneath the vast darkness of space. She whispered almost to herself, "We were ready for peace and we were ready for war. But no matter what comes, we will always protect our home." And across the planet, from every city, town, and village, humans breathed together, a collective sigh of relief and pride. Humanity had faced trickery and betrayal, and they had emerged victorious. The battle was over, but the legacy of courage, determination, and unyielding spirit had only just begun. Years had passed since the Xylar invasion, and Earth had healed. Cities rose from the shadows of battle, repaired and stronger than before. Humanity's fleets remained in orbit, not as weapons of war, but as guardians of a planet that had proven its strength. The scars of battle were reminders not of defeat, but of courage, resilience, and unity. Captain Elena Vargas walked through the halls of the rebuilt Orbital Command Center. Her hair had streaks of silver, and lines of experience marked her face, but her eyes burned with the same determination as the day the Xylars arrived. She remembered the first moment humanity had faced deception, the first strikes, the roaring courage of pilots and crews, and she smiled quietly, knowing that humanity had risen to meet a challenge unlike any other in its history. The galaxy had noticed. Other species who had once viewed humans as naive or weak now regarded Earth with a mixture of awe and caution. Stories of humanity's courage spread through star systems like wildfire, tales of small ships darting through massive Xylar warships, of engineers repairing weapons mid-battle, of children cheering while their parents prayed, all painted a picture of a species whose spirit could not be broken. Humanity had become a legend not for conquest but for defiance, intelligence, and heart. On the surface, humans went about their lives, but they were changed. Children grew up learning the story of the day Earth refused to be tricked, of the courage that had turned deception into triumph. Songs, books, and memorials honored not just the soldiers, but every human who had contributed in some way, from pilots in orbit to engineers in hidden bunkers, to citizens who had kept faith in the darkest hours. Elena often gazed at the stars, remembering the faces of those she had led, the pilots who had risked everything, the engineers who had worked through endless hours, and the citizens who had held on to hope. Humanity's victory had not been simple, nor had it been easy, but it had been complete. The Xylars had learned that strength was not only in technology, but in unity, courage, and love of home. The human fleet remained vigilant, though there was no immediate threat. It served as a symbol not of fear but of determination. Earth had defended itself and the galaxy had taken note. Alien emissaries who visited now did so with respect, aware that humanity could never be underestimated. And for Elena, this respect was more than political. It was proof that the fire of a species could illuminate the darkness of space. Even on quiet nights, when the stars hung still and the blue of Earth glowed beneath, humanity remembered. They remembered the fear, the chaos, and the uncertainty. But most of all, they remembered the courage, the bravery of ordinary people who became heroes, the unity of a species that refused to be tricked, and the will to protect a home worth every sacrifice. Elena looked at the horizon from the observation deck. Children played in parks, cities thrived, and the people of Earth lived free. Yet she knew that vigilance was a part of life, and humanity's strength lay not just in weapons but in spirit. "We fought for home," she said quietly, "and we will always fight for it. We do not seek war, but we do not fear it. This is who we are." Across the galaxy, the legend of Earth endured. Humanity's story inspired other civilizations to respect courage, to value unity and to cherish home. The Xylars had tried to deceive, but humans had turned their trick into a triumph. The message was clear to all who would listen. Words could be lies, promises could be false, but a determined spirit defending what it loved would never be broken. And so, Earth became more than a planet. It became a symbol, a beacon of hope, resilience, and unyielding courage. Humanity had proven that even in the darkest void of space, light, born of heart, courage, and unity, would shine brightest. They had survived deception, faced overwhelming odds, and emerged victorious. Humanity had not only defended their home, they had written their legacy among the stars. And in that legacy, one truth endured.